So we have this very interesting question. Why does my twin flame never initiate contact yet responds to me straight away whenever I do? It's exhausting being the only one to reach out. Okay, so this is actually a much better case than I have seen with some other people whose twin flames never contact or never respond or never talk to them. Now, let me tell you guys that there are a lot of people on the internet, especially a lot of twin flame coaches and guides, who are going to tell you that you should pursue your twin flame, you should pursue them so much, like you should chase them. In a way, actually, all the steps that they're giving you are taking you towards chasing them physically or mentally. Like, even when people say that, yeah, that person is your twin flame and that person loves you, and you still haven't figured out how to surrender, then that particular thought itself can create a lot of bondage and slavery. The reason why in this case you are getting the response is because you have actually maintained a habit of not chasing them so much physically. So if you have a fight, or if you have an argument, if you have a disagreement, then most probably what you have been doing is that after the argument you don't go and pacify them, you don't call them again and again, you don't message them, you don't try to communicate with them, and doing so maybe you pass like a month, 2 or 3 months, or whatever time, and during that time you don't initiate any contact, you have no conversation, no matter what it is. However, maybe after some time, maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you develop some kind of feeling for them, or it is maybe some festival, or maybe there's a reason that you call them or you contact them and they instantly talk to you, they instantly respond to you. So that's because you have given them enough time to think. You have given them time to think about whatever has happened. And you also don't have that big an ego. You don't feel like, okay, what's the big deal even if I call this person? Now, while I'm saying all of this, please understand this may not be good for every single person out there. Your journey is unique to you. For example, if you are dating a person who's married, has a family, has children, and they have been keeping you in this loop, or maybe they've been giving you false hopes. Maybe they've made some promises to you that they're going to leave their family and then they're going to come and be with you. But in my opinion, that's not a very healthy way of dealing with things. So that is a completely different type of an example, where a person could probably just be playing mind games with you, and you are assuming that it's a very pure and very divine connection, and then whatever they're telling you, they're manipulating you, you should do that. In this case, I don't think this is the right way to go. And every case is different. Every case literally is different. However, the moral compass has to be applied. The humanitarian values have to be applied. If you think very strongly that being with a certain person, you are compromising on your humanitarian values, you are not looking at the moral compass, you're just doing things, and at the end of the day, you're just left with guilt and shame. Even in basic cases, like for example, you're talking to someone, you're in relationship with someone, you're dating someone, or maybe it's a situationship, and that person has a certain negative pattern, a very toxic pattern, which they display from time to time. And each time you see it, maybe you patiently ignore it, but they also keep bringing it up, they keep projecting that toxic pattern to you over and over again. And maybe you call them out for it. Maybe you say that, you know what, this is not a good thing. In this case, after saying whatever you've said, you let that person be, because you don't see that they are letting it go. Now, this is called ego games. Maybe that person has a big ego and you can recognize it, and you're not that dependent on that person. When you're not that dependent on a person, other people are also open. They are more open to talk to you. They are more aware. And maybe when you actually are not talking to them, you're not doing it on purpose. You're not like giving them a silent treatment because you're trying to manipulate them, but you're doing it because you feel that that's the best thing to do. That's the best thing to do, or that's the right thing to do, or maybe that's going to heal all the negative energy also. Maybe if you are really advanced in this journey, you sense negative energy, you're sensitive towards it, and you realize that whenever a person is surrounded by negative energy, it's best to not communicate with them. It's best to not to talk to them. You can tell them whatever is important, but after that, just let it be, because they're going to sit down, they're going to do a retrospection or an introspection, and they're going to come to their own conclusions. And we need to give people time. Sometimes you should give people time. But the question here is also that it's exhausting being the one to reach out. If you feel, or if anyone feels that it's exhausting doing so, you are not happy doing so, then nobody is forcing you to do so. If you feel that someone is draining your energy, you have to be in your logical mind as well. Because the twin flame journey talks about the Shiva and Shakti energy. Shiva is the logical and Shakti is the emotional energy. The coming together, the union of both, creates a person who can use their logical energy as well as their emotional energy whenever it's needed. Every situation demands a different response from you. You cannot fit in the same key with all the locks unless you get a master key, unless you are that amazing, your sadhana, your tapasya, your inner work is that amazing that God gives you a master key, and then whatever you say and whatever you do just simply works. So if you feel it's exhausting, it's draining, you don't like the way they treat you, it's better to just distance yourself. I mean, please do not go by all of the people who are selling this idea to you without doing much research. Like they're talking about twin flames, they're talking about healing twin flames, or they're talking about how to ascend, how to get into the union, but they are completely stuck in the physical world. This unique journey is not physical in nature. It's an esoteric experience. It's a metaphysical experience. There will be a lot of people who are going to give you a lot of false hopes and they're going to justify their behavior. They might say that maybe it's because of some problem, maybe it's because of social conditioning, maybe they're not ready to talk to you. You should be able to fight it out with a person. You should be able to get grumpy sometimes. You can fall sick sometimes. You can have a bad day. You can be in bad mood. A good couple knows, in a good relationship, ideally, even in family we see this, in family we see this a lot. When one of the person is not in a good mood, other intelligent people don't try to gang up on that person. They try to pacify that person, and if the other person is like, no, I don't want to be pacified, I just want to be alone, I just want to be left out, it usually happens. Like maybe your brother on one certain day is a little bit grumpy. Now you're not gonna keep poking that person. So sensibility is very important, and that only comes when you're independent, that only comes when you're healed, that only comes when you know that you should not be expecting so much from other people, you should not be assuming so much, you should not be depending so much. Codependency has to go out. If someone doesn't want to talk to you, you should still be okay in your self, in your own world. You should be comfortable in your skin. Sometimes we should just give people space and time. And many a times giving people space and time and doing this detachment also brings people closer to us, And then I think, as I said, the more inner work you do, the better you become, the more you give yourself solitude. In Hindi, we have this beautiful word, ekantavas. The more you spend time with yourself, the more you love yourself, the more you understand yourself, the more you depend only on source, slowly and gradually, you will realize that other people will love you for who you are too. Even those who are angry with you, even those who are upset with you, they will come back to you. They always come back to you. And maybe at that time, the dynamic of the relationship will change. Maybe you guys will become very good friends. Maybe you guys will support each other for life. Who knows? So I'm not giving any false hopes to anyone. On the contrary, what I'm trying to tell you is that when you work on yourself, when you depend only on source, and through source you love yourself as a unique creation of source, you'll never feel lonely. You'll never feel sad upon rejection. You'll never feel bad upon rejection. If somebody treats you badly also, you will be like, okay, that's the state they are in, that's the condition they are in. If they are so mad at me, just imagine how much pain and suffering they must be going through within themselves. They must be so mad at themselves also, their own self. Because you cannot be mad at other people until and unless you generate that energy within yourself. So it's always the one who is getting angry, they are holding the hot coal in their hand. They don't want to let it go. So if somebody is really angry upon you and you don't think they should be, let it be. They'll figure it out. Don't just keep reaching out. Don't keep reaching out to people unnecessarily. You do your bit and after that you let them be. You say whatever you have to and then don't pester them. Don't message them again and again. Don't try to communicate with them when they don't want to. Just let it be. If something is meant to be, if any relationship is meant to be, if it is going to survive the test of time, it will. And if it's not meant to be, then let it just go. Thank you for being here. Your existence matters. I will see you in the next video. One love, peace out, and victory to Ram.